Hey guys, it's Ms. Johnson and I'm here to bring you our video for Unit 3 Note 6, which is on multiplying monomials by polynomials. So we're just going to start off today by reviewing the three rules that we're going to need today when we're looking at these things. So we've been talking about rules of exponents and how we add, subtract, multiply, and divide them. Today we're going to do monomials by polynomials. So far we've been working with mostly just monomials, but now we're going to get into polynomials as well. So just a reminder, when we multiply like bases, or in other words, when we have a product of a product, that's what that rule is technically called, product of powers, sorry, product of powers. That's what you've seen on your other notes sheets. We add the exponents. So for example, when I have x times x to the second, that's x to the third. Power of a power is when we multiply the exponents. That's when we've got those parentheses. So we'd have something like x to the third and then raised to the fourth outside. That would be x to the 3 times 4, or in other words, x to the 12th. And zero exponents, everything is 1. So if I had x to the 0 power, that would be equal to 1. If I had 3 times x to the 0 power, this piece of it would be 1, and then 3 times 1 would be 3. So that's just a review of those rules that we've looked at. And we also are going to talk about the distributive property today because we're going to be using that a lot. So distributive property is what tells us we can multiply a sum by multiplying each term separately and then adding the products. That's what the distributive property means. So we all know about distributing, drawing those outside terms to inside the parentheses. And that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be using the distributive property by distributing the monomial to each term inside. And then after we do that, we multiply each pair of monomials, and then we combine like terms and rewrite it in standard form. So those are kind of those 4 steps. Go ahead and pause the video if you need some time to write all that down. And when you're ready, let's move on to number 1. So number 1 down at the bottom of your page says that I have negative 2x squared on the outside multiplied by the quantity of 3x squared times negative 7x times 10. So I can't simplify anything inside the parentheses. Nothing inside are like terms. None of these terms are like terms, so I can't put any of them together. I can, however, distribute what's outside to the inside. So I'm going to do that, and when I do that, I'm multiplying each part. So for negative 2x squared times 3x squared, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. Then I would have negative 2x squared times negative 7x. Negative 2 times negative 7, be careful with those negatives, that's going to be a positive 14. And x squared times x is going to be x to the 3rd. And then negative 2x squared times 10 is going to be negative 20x squared. And I always check to make sure I have no like terms, and I always check to make sure it's in standard form, and both of those things are true here, so that's my answer. Let's take a look at number 2. In number 2, I have 5a squared times negative 4a squared times 2a, or plus 2a minus 7 in parentheses. So again, I need to distribute that 5a squared that's on the outside to everything that's on the inside. So I have 5 times negative 4, that's negative 20. A squared times a squared, that's a to the 4th. Then the middle term, 5 times 2 is 10, and a squared times a is a to the 3rd. And the last term, 5 times negative 7 is negative 35, and a squared stays the same. Again, I'm in standard form because my exponents go 4, 3, 2, they decrease, and I have no like terms to combine, so that's my most simplified answer. Let's try number 3. In number 3, I have 6y times the quantity 4y squared minus 9 minus 7. And I need to distribute that to the inside. So I'll have 6 times 4, which is 24, y times y squared, which is y to the 3rd. Then the middle term, 6 times negative 9 is negative 54, and y times y is y squared. And the last one, 6y times negative 7 is negative 42y. So there's that one. And number 4, last one in this little section here. Distribute that negative 3x on the outside. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. X squared times x is x to the third. So that's the first term. Negative 3x squared times negative 8x squared. That's going to be positive 24. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. And negative 3x squared times 2 is negative 6x squared. Now, I don't have any like terms to combine, but this thing isn't in standard form. So I got to switch my powers here, or switch my terms here so that my largest exponent or largest power is first. So 24x to the fourth goes in front, then negative 12x to the third, then negative 6x squared. Okay. So let's flip over to the back and just take a look at maybe one of those examples and talk about simplifying expressions here. When we are simplifying these expressions, we need to, when we have some multiple rules going on, the first thing that we have to do is take care of any distribution. Whatever distribution is there is the first thing that we have to do. So distribute the monomial to each term and the polynomial behind it. Then the next thing we would do is multiply the pair of monomials and combine any like terms by adding the two polynomials. Make sure you put your answer in standard form again. So this is just where we might have more than one set of distribution, and then we've got some like terms to take care of behind it. So let's try number 5 together. Again, don't forget that you can pause the video at any point if you need some extra time to write all that down. So in number 5, I'm going to start by taking care of my distribution. So I need to distribute the 4 to this polynomial, and I need to distribute the negative d to that polynomial. So whatever polynomial is being multiplied behind it is what gets distributed. So 4 times 3d squared, that ends up giving me 12d squared. Then 4 times 5d is plus 20d. Now notice, by the way, that I didn't put this in parentheses because once I take care of the distribution, the parentheses don't mean anything to me anymore. They're not doing anything. So if I look at that second one, negative d times d squared, that's going to be negative d to the third. Then negative d times negative 7d is positive 7d squared. And negative d times 12 is negative 12d. So now I need to identify my like terms. I've taken care of the distribution. Now I've got to look for the like terms. The largest exponent that I have is the power of 3. And there's nothing that goes with it, so that's going to be my term in front, negative d to the third power. So I'm done with that one. Now I have a 12d squared and a 7d squared. That would be next. When I put those two together, they're both positive, so I have plus 19d squared. Next, I have 20d minus 12d, and 20 minus 12 gives me 8, so I have plus 8d. So I've combined my like terms. I purposely did it in order of largest exponent, so they're automatically written in standard form. And that is my answer. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop our video there for today. We will pick up with number 6 tomorrow in class. Thanks for listening and have a great night. Don't forget to go back to Schoology and take your quiz.